Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to our first segment of movie news, where I'm going to give you all of the updated information of movies and TV from the past week. And every Friday, I'm going to be doing one of these videos, hopefully. So if you like this video, consider subscribing and following me on my socials around down here somewhere. And I thank you so much for staying tuned. So let's get into the first topic of this week. Starting off with our first topic for this session, it's actually going to be about Resident Evil. Now, I'm going to be completely honest, I know nothing about Resident Evil, not even one little bit. I know they've done games and I know they've done movies, but I know the movies have sucked terribly. And that's why I've never watched them. But today, they're actually going to reboot the franchise for its second time now, and that's going to be with director Zach Cregger, and he is actually the director of the 2022 movie Barbarian, which I will go on record and say I did not like one bit. And I think I was one of the few people online that just did not like that one at all. It wasn't from a filmmaking standpoint, but I think it was more because of just the story itself. It did not interest me. I thought it was going to be some home invasion, but anyways, we're getting sidetracked. Resident Evil is now being directed by Zach Cregger, and what are your thoughts and opinions about this? As a Resident Evil fan, what are your standpoints? Because I, again, know nothing about it. I know he is very good at directing horror films, but I just did not enjoy the last one I saw with him directing. So I want to hear from you Resident Evil fans. Are you excited about this? Because I don't think the mainstream audience will be, after all these movies that have pumped out being very bad. So I think this movie is doomed on arrival, unfortunately, but I'm willing to give it a chance if you guys think this is a good watch. Moving on to a franchise that everyone knows at least a little something about, and that is actually Star Wars. Star Wars is one of those franchises that everyone's been watching for the past couple of years on Disney+, and they're actually releasing a new movie with The Mandalorian, and many people are just not happy with Star Wars right now with their quality. Skeleton Crew was done well, but that didn't reach as many people as they wanted to. Mando, I liked the first 2 seasons, didn't like the last one. Ahsoka, I really liked, but not enough people did. So this one's just not been doing well for the mainstream audience that we know. And so what this one actually had an interesting update with is actually the Rey Solo movie. This movie, along with many others, was announced back in like 2020. And so this one, we had Patty Jenkins was announced for a movie, Taika Waititi was announced for a movie, and that probably failed because of his failure with Thor: Love and Thunder. And then even Kevin Feige, the guy that runs the MCU, was announced to do a movie like this. And so all of those have just been pushed back, or they haven't been talked about since the release date. And so one that was also announced was the Rey Solo movie, and they've actually tried to get directors and writers tied to it, but then the writers have left the process. New directors have signed on, left again. Writers have signed on, left again. And then we actually got a new writer, and his name is George Nolfi. And I actually looked at his IMDb because I had nothing about him. And he actually did the Bourne Ultimate movies, and then, or one of them. And then he also did Ocean's 12. And so I don't really know much about those films, really, but I know that they're just kind of meh. They weren't like beloved classics. And so honestly, I just think this is an okay choice. I'm not really expecting much from this movie. I don't think it'll bring back regular audiences or mainstream audiences like it did years ago. But let me know what you think. I don't think there's much to talk about here, but just saying there's a new writer adding on. Are you even interested in this movie in the first place, or should we just let it die? Or are you actually interested in seeing this movie happen because you want to see what Rey does after the fact? So let me know. I'd be really interested to hear what you have to say. Moving on to the next topic, this actually relates to the Monsterverse, and this was all the Godzilla movies, the Kong movie, except for Godzilla -1. And so last year we got Godzilla x Kong, and I actually really liked that one. And so we got a new update in the casting info, and I kind of wish they just went straight monsters and left the characters behind, because that's what I felt like elevated the last movie, where you get to see monkeys RKOing dinosaurs off of pyramids. I just thought that was really fun, really cool, and I really like the craziness. However, the director for the last one is not returning for the third one. And so I'm kind of actually sad that he's not returning, because I really like the crazy vibes, and I think this guy is going to be more grounded. And honestly, I'm okay with it. I really started enjoying the Monsterverse movies last time when you got to see all that crazy stuff happen. And so we actually got a new casting update with the human side of things. And this is actually going to be Caitlin Dever, and she will be joining the cast on this new one. And it's unclear what her role is in this movie, but I actually think she'll be a great fit because she's doing all these high-profile roles now, like The Last of Us Season 2. I'm just interested to see what she does with her career, and I think this will be a good choice because she's a good actress, if we're being completely honest. So I think this is going to be a really good update for the Monsterverse, and we'll see how it goes. Moving on to the next topic, we're actually not going to be talking about a franchise. We're going to be talking about a director, and this is M. Night Shyamalan. M. Night Shyamalan has done so many crazy movies the past couple of years. Last year he did Trap, and it was kind of a disappointment for me because of how the movie played out. But honestly, every time he does something, I'm always intrigued. I'm always interested to see what he's just doing with the concept. What's his plot twist for the movies? And so this year is no different. We actually got news the other day that he is actually doing a new movie, and it's called to be a supernatural romantic thriller. Well, I don't know. Typically, when I hear that, I don't think it's my speed. I'm not a supernatural type of guy. I usually, if we're going into horror films, I like slashers. I don't like the supernatural stuff. Or the romantic side, I'm okay for. But this one, it's M. Night Shyamalan. I'm really interested to see what he does himself with this idea. He's done a lot of projects that I've liked, a lot of them that I haven't liked. But this one's also different because he also is asking Jake Gyllenhaal to star in this movie. And I like Jake Gyllenhaal, to be completely honest. I think he's a great actor, and I think that he really did well in the movie Prisoners. So if he does anything like that, we're all set, and I'm excited to see where this movie goes. And I can't wait to see the trailer because, man, he just comes up with the weirdest concepts, and I can't wait. All right, now we're going to be talking about something terrifying, and this is actually about Terrifier 4. During this previous week, it was Damien Leone's birthday, that is the director of the past Terrifier movies, and he actually went on record and said that he was actually starting work on Terrifier 4, along with some more information. So here's what he said in his birthday post to his fans. Thank you so much for the amazing birthday wishes. I'm truly blessed to know so many wonderful human beings. And I might as well take advantage of this day and give all the Terrifier 4 fans a little present in return. The script for Terrifier 4 is underway and is shaping up to be the most epic, horrifying, thrilling, emotional, and satisfying conclusion to the Terrifier saga. I personally have never been so excited to see one of my scripts translate to the screen like this one. And P.S. I will finally reveal Art's origin in the entry. Thank you all again. So there's a lot of things that we can break down in this segment, and a lot of it has to come from that this is going to be Art the Clown's last ride, maybe? They said this is concluding the franchise or the run of the saga of Art, and I'm actually really confused because I was not expecting this to happen. Maybe he will come back from the dead again, or something will happen. That always happens in horror films like this, so I won't be surprised if he returns again. But it was just interesting that they're saying that they're wrapping up this story. Another thing that a lot of fans online either hate or really like is that they're actually going to be telling us Art's origin story in this new film, because a lot of people of the horror fan community actually liked that we didn't have the origin story because he's creepy because we don't know where he came from. And a lot of that mystery is what keeps people tied into this franchise. And so a lot of people are just kind of meh about it. I wanted to know, so we'll see where this franchise goes. It's really crazy to think that this is actually going to be the last one. But let me know your thoughts if you've seen the Terrifier movies. Yeah. All right, for our next topic of discussion, we're actually going to be discussing Knives Out. Knives Out is one of those murder slashers that everyone likes, and it always keeps you guessing on who actually killed him. And the first one I really liked. The second one, I thought it was solid, but it just hasn't aged well, in my opinion. I was actually one of the few people that got to see it in theaters a month before it actually released on Netflix, and I was hoping they'd do something with that with this one. I don't think they are, But returning in this cast is actually Daniel Craig, Josh O'Connor, Carly Spaney, Andrew Scott, Glenn Close, Kerry Washington, Josh Brolin, Thomas Hayden Church, Jeremy Renner, and Mila Kunis. And so this first look image that you see right here actually describes and shows that they're in a church. And I think this is just really interesting. A lot of people online are speculating that this one is actually going to be more supernatural. I thought it was more of a funeral vibe, but a lot of people are thinking this one is going to be a supernatural story. And if that's the case, I'm not a fan of that, honestly. I'd rather just have another murder slasher. So we'll see if this one ends up being that way. I just wish that they give this more of a theatrical run for people like me that love seeing these types of movies. And it helps give the directors some praise, it helps give the actors some praise. And with it just being exclusively on Netflix, that's releasing later this year, my anticipation is not as high as it should be. The first one was great, and I think that was because it wasn't on Netflix. I could be wrong, but we'll see. I just wish that this one would get the praise that it deserves. I don't know if it will, if it's going to be supernatural. So, moving on to Stranger Things Season 5 news, and this is actually really interesting. Netflix actually had an announcement slate that went out on YouTube this past week, and so a lot of their stuff got announced, and we got our first look poster of Stranger Things Season 5. And as you can see, this poster is just a basic wanted poster, and it's looking at 11, and she says that she's missing, and I just think that was interesting in the first place. I haven't seen season 4 in a while, so I don't remember if she was completely missing. That could just be me being dumb. I don't remember it. So, sorry for those hardcore Stranger Things 5 fans. Let me know in the comments below, because I kind of forget. I binged it all on the first day and haven't rewatched it since. So, anyways, if you call the number down in the missing platform of the missing poster, actually it takes you to the Hawkins police and they respond to you. So it was really cool to see that happen online. So call the number after this video and you'll get like a small little Easter egg. I've seen this happen in other marketing stances before, but this one's also cool because it's Stranger Things version. And so with that, the Duffer Brothers actually also had a announcement thing where they went and had to do some press. And so they had said that they had over 650 hours of footage and then 8 movies that they wanted to show us, meaning that almost 8 episodes of movies, that's about 2 hours. I mean, we have over 16 hours of footage that they want us to see for this final season. That'll be really cool to watch all together, all at once. However, they said that there was a lot, and I mean a lot, of crying in all that footage. So, I don't think we're ready for this season yet. I think we should just kind of maybe wait. And you know, that's probably a good thing, because the Duffer Brothers also went online and said that they actually have not picked out a release date yet for this year. And it says it right here in their interview. We are getting on a call with Netflix in about a couple of weeks about it. I just know it was very important for us at Netflix that we get it out this year, but even that is quite a push, and hopefully we'll be a lot more on schedule this year. Meaning they actually don't have a release date yet, and we may not be getting it this year. Now, I think we will. I just think it'll be way later. It'll be in quarter 3 of this year or quarter 4. It'll be past summer by the time we get this. So let me know when you think we're gonna get some Stranger Things stuff going on. I'm assuming we're gonna get a trailer soon, but that was just something really interesting that I found online on Twitter. So yeah, really interesting stuff for Stranger Things coming soon, hopefully. All right, moving on to some Marvel news, and this was taking place with Benedict Cumberbatch. And last week, if you guys remember, I didn't do a video over this, but Benedict Cumberbatch said that he was not in Avengers Doomsday. And a lot of this multiversal stuff takes place with Doctor Strange. If you count What If, Multiverse of Madness, or even Wong in that sense, he's been in so many different projects that we just kind of assumed that Doctor Strange was going to be a leader of the Avengers or in the Avengers Doomsday. And then he went on record last week and said that he actually was not going to be in Avengers Doomsday, but he'd play a heavy role in Secret Wars. And a lot of the internet was mad. And this is because, like, the multiverse has been put on Doctor Strange's shoulders. This whole phase has basically been him hopping in other people's projects and then taking them from multiverse to multiverse, or just different things. Like, he's been so involved with the multiversal story that people just assumed that he was going to be in Avengers Doomsday, and then they tell us it's not the case. So something must have happened behind the scenes, because later this week, I think it was about 2 days ago, he said that he actually got it wrong and that he will be in Avengers Doomsday and that he's just kind of stupid. Man, it's hard to... Not even the Marvel people know what projects they're going to be in. And I understand that they're filming Avengers Endgame and Avengers Doomsday and Avengers Secret Wars back to back, like they did with Avengers Endgame and Avengers Infinity Wars. But still, like, you don't know what movies you're going to be in? I don't know. It was just kind of confusing. So a lot of it is I'm nervous about, I'm not going to lie. I do trust Marvel with the Avengers because it's the Russo brothers coming back, and they've done so well with having all these characters come back, and it's an ensemble film. But honestly, I'm nervous because you say you're not in the film, and then the internet gets mad, and then now he is in the film. You should know what movies you're in. In addition to that, Chris Evans also said that he was not going to be in these next Avengers films, and that he's happily retired. I think that's a lie. We've had a lot of reports saying that he was signed on to do it, but you never know. I think he'll come back as well. So let me know what your thoughts on this Marvel stuff. I'm as you can tell, I'm a huge Marvel fan. I don't know what we're doing here. I wish people knew what they were kind of doing. We'll see. Moving on to our last topic of discussion today, and that is actually over Scream. Scream is one of my favorite horror franchises. You guys don't know that yet, but now you do. It is my favorite horror franchise of all time, and I just love the mystery murder aspect of it, and then people getting chased around. And anyways, my favorite film franchise for the horror universes. And I was honestly really sad that we got to see that the original plans for Scream 7 are no more. We were originally going to follow Sam and Tara. However, they got thrown out because they wanted to do a story over Neve Campbell. And I do like Neve Campbell's story, but I wish they finished up at least their story or tied it up. And so a lot of this new information from Scream was that Neve Campbell's actually coming back, taking over, and we're actually going to be focusing on her character with her kids. I just thought it was interesting. I wish we got the original Scream 7 that we were supposed to get, but anyways, I'm okay that we're still getting a Scream movie because I love Scream. And so with this, Mason Gooding was added back into the cast, who was playing Chad in the other movies. And then they added Mindy back, and so last night we actually got news that Matthew Lillard was actually coming back. And if you haven't seen the original Scream movies, I would highly, highly recommend them. I love the murder mystery aspect of them all. But Matthew Lillard is coming back, and I always think that's really interesting. I think he can survive a crash from a TV on the head. However, there was another piece of information that someone else is coming back, and that is Scott Foley. His character is coming back. He was like Neve Campbell's half-brother, and it was really interesting, but he got a bullet to the head. So I don't think he's actually coming back, but maybe in some version that he's a ghost, or I don't even know. Or they could use his voice, I guess, with AI, because that's a lot of theories online right now, is that there's AI voice chat now, and so they can use his voice to scare Sydney. Who knows? But I am excited for this. Matthew Lillard was someone that everyone this whole last couple of movies has said they've wanted back. And if you remember in the original Scream 3 draft, they actually had Matthew Lillard in a prison instead of being dead, and that he was actually alive this whole time. And if we go back to that now, all for it. So they got me back in with this. I'm really, really excited to hear and see that Matthew Lillard's back. But let me know your thoughts, because this is something I'm really excited for. I don't know if you guys are as excited as I am for it, but anyways, that screams are my guilty pleasure horror films. So anyways, what are your thoughts about it? And let me know in the comments below.
Hey, so real quick, I was editing this video and actually we got a trailer date for Fantastic Four. It comes out on February 4th, which is this upcoming Tuesday, and it'll be premiering on Good Morning America. So you want to wake up and watch that trailer when it comes out on February 4th. We don't have a specific time yet, but it will be released then. So hope you guys have a great Tuesday.
So that is all of the movie news I have for the week. Let me know if you guys liked this video by liking and subscribing. I really liked doing this video because it got me to learn so much more than what I already knew. And let me know if I should do more of these as the weeks go on, because I want to keep you guys updated with things that you're interested in. So if there's something else that you guys are interested in that you want me to talk about in these news segments, please label them down below and I'll add them next time. But that's all of everything I have for you guys today. But thank you guys for watching this video and take care.